Welcome to Caseback Watches. My name is Tim, and in this video I want to speak about basics, because I've realized, or I saw many comments from people who are new in the watch game, and they asked a rather basic question, which is perfectly fine. I don't want to exclude anybody here. And so I have realized I've made only a few videos for the rookie, and so this will be a very basic video how to start to buy your first watch. And so if you are very advanced, maybe this video is not necessary for you, but it would be great if you watch it anyway, because maybe you can add something. Maybe I'm wrong in some aspects here, or maybe you can contribute something. Then please put it in the comments. Okay, and now the content here. The program is very easy. I'll give you 5 tips regarding taste and style, and then we speak in 5 tips about the numbers, the market, okay? And at the end of this video, I give you a recommendation, 2 watches, one for the more sportier guy and one for a more formal guy, and rather entry level, but in my opinion absolutely worth the money and wanted, and so with very good aspects. But I will show you those watches at the end of this video. So let's get started here with the first 5 tips. Number 1 challenge: the watch world is too big, way too big. So if you want to have a first orientation and you use, let's say, Google image search, then the results will be in the hundreds and thousands, and so it's way too complicated. Will left you without any orientation at all. So my first recommendation: watch forum. Look at the watch forums, and then you can find out which models are there in high regards. And there are sometimes for a reason they're in high regards. You will not find recommendations for absolute shit fashion brands without any value at all. So if the watch is very popular in this watch forum, then for a reason, and this could be a good way to start for you. Watch forums, watch forums, watch forums. I sound a little bit like this individual from Brisbane, Australia, but okay. Second tip: stay a little bit conservative. Don't buy as a first piece this super exotic and flashy and loud watch. The danger is that you get annoyed by your own timepieces after several days on the wrist, and then you have this problem on the wrist. So my recommendation is be a little bit modest in the beginning. And you have to realize the difference between 2 watches can be as big as between a Mockingbird and a T-Rex. And so there's a wide variety to choose from. And in my opinion, it's not smart to start with a really, really loud and flashy timepiece. So conservative, moderate, this is my tip, my second tip for you. Third tip: be honest and ask yourself who you are. Are you more the suit guy, or are you more the guy in the trekking suit? Both is okay, both is totally fine, but we're talking about very different genres. And I think it's important for you that you know your genre, in which genre you feel comfortable. Just imagine, let's say, a bar. You want the posh bar or you want the working class bar. Both is absolutely fine, but it's better for you and your first watch when you are honest. And so this is tip number 3. Be a flipper. People will hate me for this tip, but I really mean it. Be a flipper, and a flipper here means buy a watch, enjoy it, sell it again, buy the next thing. You will learn so much, and you will experience so many different experiences with a watch on your wrist, because images are telling you sometimes nothing. You need the piece on your wrist to really experience the value and the vibe of a decent timepiece. And so my advice: be a flipper. It's possible without burning big money. I will tell you this in the second half of this video, how you can manage this. Tip number 5: forget the Grail watch. People talk all the time about their next Grail watch. And I'm under the impression that they are talking about the next expensive watch, which they cannot buy like this. They have to prepare their funds for the watch, and this is then the Grail watch. But it's an inflationary, can I say this, inflationary used term. And through my hands went, I think, 200, or let's be maybe 250 watches, and I don't have a Grail watch. I don't have a Grail watch. A Grail is something so big and extraordinary. I think we should establish to use this term for every next watch we want to buy. So forget the Grail watch. You are at the beginning, and so just enjoy the timepieces which are in your reach. Okay, second half of the video. Now we're talking about the numbers, the market. Tip number 1, and this is the most important tip in this video: buy used. Please, buy used. Watches don't keep their value. There are some exceptions. I know this. There are some exceptions, and they are very famous, and people talk about those exceptions because it's so rare. that the watch keeps its value. And normally they go down. You buy the watch at the boutique for 1,000, and let's say a few months later it's worth 60%, 600. And so this is then pretty bad if you are at the beginning, because nobody knows if you feel comfortable with your watch next week. And so buy used, buy used. And please don't believe a salesperson if he tells or she tells you that a certain watch will increase in value, it will go up like that. If this was true, then the salesperson would keep the watch, right? This is very obvious, and so don't believe them. In most cases, a watch cannot keep its value, its retail price. And so tip number 1 in this segment, buy used. Next tip in this segment is stick to ETA movements or Sellita movements. Don't buy in-house movements, because ETA and Sellita, they're hassle-free, they're very robust, they're precise, and more important, every watchmaker can fix them. And every watchmaker can service them. And so we're talking about a service for, let's say, 250 euros. So very affordable in comparison to an in-house movement. And there you can pay for a service very, very easy, 1,000 bucks. And so I think in the beginning, it's better to stick to ETA. If something goes wrong, then it won't break the bank, okay? Next tip, don't trust retail prices. You find this very often at eBay. There's a listing then, and the seller tells you this retails at 2,000 and here you can buy it for 1,000. Very often retail prices are suggestions and nobody has ever paid that price. Of course, if you check the website of the manufacturer, there you can see this retail price then, but then you go to Chrono24 and you find the same watch new with box and papers for 70% of this retail price. So don't trust retail prices. If you read a retail price, check it if this is really the market price. Next tip is that you should invest the amount of money you could lose tomorrow without affecting your daily life, without affecting your psychology. And so this is very different. If you are very rich, then maybe you can go a little bit higher than an average guy. But little addition, I should be clearer here. The reason why I want you not to invest huge amounts of money you cannot afford is that you don't feel comfortable then. Then it's not enjoyable to wear the piece. Then you are worried and you're sneaking around the alley and you look for the bad guys. And this is not fun. This is simply not fun. And so I would really suggest that you stay in your comfort zone when it comes to money. Last tip for this video, be aware that many of the influencers on YouTube, on Instagram, but also watch journalists have a side deal. Often they're affiliated to shops, to manufacturers, and if they recommend something, doesn't mean necessarily that the piece is good. It can be shit. It can be 100% junk. Okay, and so I want you to check now the description of this YouTube channel if I'm in bed with Longines or Oris, because those watches I want to recommend you right now. My 2 watch tips here. Let's assume you're more on the formal side, then I have a good tip for you, and this is the Longines flagship, heritage flagship. It's the reissue of a historic timepiece, same name, flagship. It comes in 35 millimeters and in 39.5 and wears very big. The 39.5 on my 17 centimeter wrist was simply too big, and 35 I think would be perfect. And so I really want to recommend you that 35 model. If it looks okay on your wrist, then it's a really good buy. Used, again, used. You can pick them up for, what is it, 500, 600, 700 euros or US dollars, not more. There's an ETA in it, very hassle-free. The modern versions of it have sapphire crystals on top, and so it's a rock-solid dress watch, and so a very good first watch in my opinion. And they are just gorgeous to look at, and they are wanted. It's very easy to sell that watch. If you want to sell that watch on eBay or in the watch forum, then you will sell it in no time. You will get your money back. Everything's fine then. And if you're more on the informal side, if you like to wear khakis and jeans, let's say, then my recommendation is the Oris 65. This is a so beautiful piece, vintage inspired diver, that's why they call it 65 obviously, and it's not too big, it's not too small, and again it's wanted, it's absolutely wanted. If you want to sell that piece, there's a constant demand for used Oris 65 divers in good condition, and so you can pick it up used, you can enjoy it, and then you can flip it if it's necessary, but maybe it's a good keeper. If I find one, I think in a good condition, a good price, I think, well, could be a keeper even for me, and I'm obviously more the suit guy. And this diver is a little bit more expensive on the used market. That's the signal how wanted it is. It goes for about, I'm talking January 2020, and right now 850 to 900 euros. I'm not sure. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, please. Okay, that's all I want to say to you. If you're new in the watch game, if you have questions, put it in the comments. Then I make in the near future another Q&A video, and then we can talk about single question a little bit longer. And if you find any sort of error in this video, or if you have suggestions, corrections, additions, then also put it in the comments, please. And now let me thank you very much for your attention, and maybe until next time.